Heather Hying, Bret Weinstein's wife. They're the soft-talking couple, which means they're intellectual.
They were professors at a liberal arts college in the Northwest for a couple of years, and now they're apparently experts on everything from epidemiology to drag shows.
And that's what the latter of which is what is going to be discussed here. I mean, Hying, like a good, docile woman, usually lets her husband Bret take the lead. A reminder that Bret left. I'm being sarcastic about the docile thing. A reminder that Bret was ousted or left the university that college that Matt just referenced, essentially to ride along the anti-woke gravy train because he made some very I would say offensive comments related to racial equity demonstrations within the university or college, I should say, and then parlayed that into now he's a COVID skeptic for money.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of things. I mean, it started off, and he's admitted this in documentaries, that it was the union agreed to a stipulation in their contract that they were going to be pursuing diversity and inclusion stuff, and he thought that they had been mind controlled by activists on campus or something like that. And then that was preceding the thing that actually made him famous, which was he objected to the a symbolic day of absence regarding black students. Previously, they had been not going to class on a certain day as a symbolic measure, and then this case they wanted to have only black students have class a day and the rest of students get it off, although I don't even think that was entirely true. I think you could still participate in certain
And then he made
things.
some allusion to biological differences between races, which kicked off protests against him, right?
I don't remember that. I remember he was been protested constantly because of continuing things like that, basically the anti-woke thing, because in my opinion, he was constantly looking for a sort of a stunt to leave because he wasn't actually a good professor and wanted to do this sort of thing.
And this sort of thing, go ahead.
My co-host went to the college that he taught at while that was all happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Adair. And so it was a very tough time to be on the campus.
I mean, I imagine just by Bret's presence, but here he is, and here are his wife, Heather, speaking very somberly about her experience at the drag show.
But as you might imagine, the crowd had some beautiful and compelling people in it, including, for instance, some guys who looked like they walked out of the Castro in the 1980s, some just fabulous gay guys, really built, wearing black leather, and could have been the Village People, right?
Good breath. Can you pause it for a second? I'm sorry.
Some real thick leather daddies. Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
it's a good tip to know. You're up to date on the cultures when the first reference that comes to mind when it comes to gay people potentially dressing nice is the Village People. All right, here we go.
1980s, some just fabulous gay guys, really built, wearing black leather, and could have been the Village People, right? But it also had the 2010s, 2020s version of the woke brigade, the so-called queer community, if you will, which by and large these people do not look healthy. Right? It's, people are, very doughy, very pale.
Okay.
Lots of artificial color on their skin and their hair and such, and some elaborate costuming.
I was watching the Hodge Twins podcast.
Her issue with woke people appears to be they're not as built as the fabulous gay guys wearing the leather that she seemed to have enjoyed. Very odd. This is very weird.
You know what also is weird? I better hope that Heather has never dyed her hair. I mean, look, I have highlights. Kind of looks like what she's got going on there. I mean, the artificialness, God.
Did she comment on the physical fitness of Trump rallies?
No.
Look, I mean, bro, I think the LGBT community generally better shape than whoever's listening to this dumb podcast.
Yeah.
Very pale, lots of artificial color on their
Aren't you guys in Seattle or some shit? Of course they're pale.
Some elaborate costuming, which, okay, but often
That's
not.
Okay with
just kind of dingy clothes and doughy both affect and physique. And at some level, I think that people have become convinced that to aspire is somehow shaming those who haven't done better. And so by voting for the obviously less
is Pride like a physical fitness display? Like, what the fuck?
This is so fucking ridiculous. Like, they do not work out. Come on, let's just call it what it is. They do not work out. And Republicans get so brazen with this shit where like they are not the most physically fit segment of the population. Come on. I've seen the Proud Boys.
Can her husband stand up, please? Can we see the fine?
Let's see his doughy affect.
Of one Bret Weinstein.
I don't want to body shame these weirdos, but I mean, come on, like glass houses, please.
I don't know what a doughy affect is. That's what I keep returning to. What is a doughy affect?
She was just like going full physiognomy. Like she was just like they're fat in both mind and body. It's just like. But
these guys are big fans of Elon Musk, right? I would say doughy is the perfect sort of embodiment of those pictures.
And pale.
But if I could just say, like, as someone who, like, I'm a avid RuPaul's Drag Race watcher, and some of the most like agile and like amazing talents in terms of choreography and performing are like the plus size queens also. So like, there's no actual connection between like how like heavy these people might be relative to how agile or how like good they are on stage. Like
totally, but that's not the point. Is that she's trying to basically say they're just soft little woke
but it's also
people.
Not just like let's feel bad for these people and project our own body issues onto them to vote for them to be the best queen. Like this is a projection of her own, but projecting herself onto these people as if they're projecting themselves onto the drag queens.
It's also like a part of that like new anti-queer, anti-trans nostalgia that people on the right like to top out, where they like, you know, they speak to the stereotypes about gay people that are in their heads from like the 90s and early 2000s. It's just like, why can't every gay guy be like my best friend or like the guy from What Not to Wear? Why are
the fetishization was embedded in her talking about them like the village people. Like there are some guys that are gay guys that are nice to look at and fabulous. I mean, for my enjoyment, right? Because I'm essentially like acting as if I'm at a drag brunch with my girls, or I'm on a bachelorette party. It's an accessorizing of human beings as opposed to just who they are. They're not there just to be ogled by you freak.
Can you imagine
there are other
Pride?
Human beings who are different shapes and sizes who have different sexualities.
Going to Pride and being like, what does this mean for me, all this humans here?
There are a lot of white women that are like that. I mean, like I can't I've been to gay bars and like I can't stand the girls like, oh my God, it's like I'm in Disneyland. I mean, these are human beings, and she's just copy pasting that onto her whatever analysis this is of why did she even go
for content.
Oh, that's undercover operation.
We got our Barbie, right?
But to your point, Emma, like that's the other thing too, is like she's also clearly delineating that there's like an acceptable way to like perform being gay at something like this, where it's like if you're hot and you're fit and you wear leather, like you're doing some sort of performance that grafts onto something that's like conventional enough to be like acceptable to me. But like if you're fat and gay, or if you're wearing like a gray t-shirt and gay, or if you're wearing like sneakers and gay, or if you have like a pink streak in your hair and like you're kind of like not in like ripped and
if your head's cold and you're gay,
yeah, right. If you sneeze and you're gay, it's like that's not cool. You can't do that.
Like
that's disordered, actually.
I mean, turns out Heathers they don't really care about you. You're
who are you?
The heteronormative.
Why the fuck are you there?
The heteronormative, or like the female very stringent gaze that she's applying to these gay people, they don't really give a crap.
That space is not for her. Like, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like, with all due respect.
And it's clear when that they go to things like this, and, you know, obviously it's projection, a lot of this stuff, but they take their physical fitness to be a sign of their moral and intellectual worth versus just like, you know, some people are, you know, overweight, some people are not, some people, it really depends. But it's never reflects back on like their own physique or like the way they think about themselves, because it's totally divorced from their own like intellectual and moral self-worth. It's, you know, it's a classic kind of bigotry that they're trying to bring back, where like everything is boiled down to like the physical appearances too. Next they'll be doing, or they'll be going back to like the IDW classics of phrenology.
soon enough. All right, we'll keep going.
Oh, there's more.
Is somehow shaming those who haven't done better. And so by voting for the obviously less compelling, less skillful, and less attractive person, they are both affirming who they are and not, fat shaming, beauty shaming, all of these things, which is actually just code for if you are fit and healthy and look good, you don't get to talk about it because I'm in charge now. And I don't have health. I don't have beauty. I don't apparently, often don't have much going on at all.
Shut up, Five. The 10 is talking.
And somehow a lot of people are buying into it.
I have no idea what the hell she's. When did we start
You would
voting
think
for
she
people?
was
What
like
is she-
Regina George.
This was a drag show. What is the? Was there a beauty pageant at this drag show? What is she talking about?
Why does she have such self-confidence? It's not warranted, Heather.
like
It's
a
not
me-
warranted.
This is like a Mean Girl podcast between like a middle-aged woman and her husband.
I know. Get a burn book, and then you can. I mean, that's all. That's all you need to do. This is such drivel.
This is why we barely talk about these two freaks anymore, because now that like Vox or whoever the fuck is done crediting them with, particularly Bret, with being some sort of martyr, the truth is that they're just morons downstream of Peter Thiel, and they have a media project now, and it shouldn't be treated seriously. Although it should be treated, with derision.
All right, let's take some calls.
Could you imagine could you imagine being a student in one of these people's class? I mean,
Unreal.
I would love to talk to someone who was a student. I would love to know how those classes were. My God, please, someone listening to this have had to have been or know someone who's been
Brandon's
in the class.
co-host.
I've heard stuff like this too.
Was he in the class with them or just at the school?
I mean, he did study physics. Isn't that what Bret Weinstein taught?
Biology.
Yeah, he
Oh,
taught
right.
some bullshit.
One of the lower
yeah.
sciences.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard from people who have, and I've seen, I think, like Rate My Professor stuff, and it's similar to the Jordan Peterson, which is you'll get a small subset of, like, in my opinion, rubes, fresh, like me off of the North Dakota or something like that, like that haven't seen an intellectual conversation before, so they're dazzled by a person that can speak for 45 minutes. And then you got other people that have been like, I think a lot of what they're saying is spurious and doesn't actually check out.
WTF Cody said she would get kicked out of Barbie Land for that bigotry and outfit. Ooh. That was my caddy. Ooh. Judy Giuliani, I'm loving today's fucking majority report. I guess people are swearing today a little bit more. That's fun for the whole family.
You get one F-bomb and it's still PG-13, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
WTF Cody says, has she ever been to a stereotypical bar? Everyone at the Stagger in Country Bar downtown is godlike. Yeah, it's just... There's bodily diversity in some bars. I mean, and
that's shocking.
That's
to me.
Really. I'm glad they're exploring.
Hey, gay people! Look, it's one thing if you want to show some skin, but at least be attractive. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Hot, okay?
If you're gonna hang dong in front of me, it better be gigantic.
It better be swanging.
Okay, that's gonna get
Oh my God, you really
that's gonna get clipped, Brandon. That's gonna get clipped. All right.
It's broken.
So, I just got thrown off there. Pat from Michigan. A doughy affect is when you giggle when someone pokes you in the belly, like Pillsbury Jones. Graham Page, these LGBTQ people don't even give me a boner. This was woke run amok.
Maybe you're not going for the right reason.
I get it.
Because she's going there as like a pseudo anthropological project, but then doesn't realize that really all she wants is to be titillated.
I don't understand. Fargo had a pride, and like I remember like being on Broadway, and it's like I wasn't there being like, I wish the guys were hotter. Like,
Yeah, right.